Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on UppTalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say UppTalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you're new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
I think yesterday we saw about the different functions which are there in the calculated field. Like we saw yesterday, it's going to be like either I can have a numeric field, a text field, text field. I gave you an exam numeric field we've seen right now and the text field. I gave an example about how you can concatenate names because a person could have first name, last name, text title. And when you display your name in your profile, say for example, Carol Lee is mentioned over here. Certain people, especially in UK, may have some suffixes. Carol Lee 1, Carol Lee 2, especially in Europe, you may have Carol Lee 1, 2, 3, surnames, and somebody else could have prefixes. Prefixes could be something like Mr. if the organization wants to put in your Mr. or professor or whatever it is. You can have that over there, and certain other people may have some other suffixes as well, senior, junior, whatever. All those things are possible, especially in UK or Europe plus Southeast Asia. Some other countries in East Asia, China, Japan, they may have some suffixes as well. If you want to display that this particular name field that you see over here is built based on how I am setting this up over here, and it's a concatenated text field which is delivered by Workday, and it is a concatenation based on prefix, first name, last name, suffixes, etc. And again, this is a configuration which is available. How I can just maintain this as well along with your employee ID. And this is again a calculated field which is delivered by Workday. If you want to check it, you can check it. It is called as display name, and it's a calculated field by itself which is going to concatenate all of these values, and there is a page which you can use to configure this particular value which is available in the tenant settings, which we will see towards the end, because that's all. I have saved it as something like nice to have stuff. If we have the time, I can just show you some of the options for tenant level settings as well. Alright, this field is called as display name. Alright, display name is going to give you the name of a person based on how I want to configure it. And this is an example of a text concatenation field. Clear on this, and again, apart from this, I can also do formatting of a date, formatting of a number, text, etc. Formatting of a date. A simple example is, say, if you are born, say today, the 4th of October 2023, in some of the government organizations or educational based organizations. Let's take an example. If you are going to be building tomorrow a Workday implementation system for an education based organization, something like a college or a school. If you are going to retire and if your date of birth, say it happens to be the 4th of October, you will be requested to be in service till the end of this particular academic period, which could be towards the end of this year, right? Or the end of the month. For example, in India, your retirement date is usually the last working day of the month. All right, that is how it is. If you want to do that, you can use a format date option to pick the last day of the month, year. If you want to have it a different period or academic period, payroll period, whatever you want, you can do all that using format date. These are different options which we have in text and organizations. This is like lookup in the organization. This we will see as a part of array functions. Simply put, like I said, who is going to be the HR coordinator? Who's going to be the HR partner? Who's going to be the manager in my organization? I look up in the workers' organization roles level. That's what this particular information does. Next, date field. We already saw increment decrement. If I want to build a date, if I want to have a constant date, I can have all of those options available. Boolean, it's going to be either true or false. If a condition is met, it is going to say true. Otherwise, it's going to be false. For example, if a person is going to be, we are going to have a field which is going to say whether a person is 18 years or above. It's going to return either yes or no. That's it. Instance, related aggregates, all those things, and we just look at it once we get it to look up related values. Or write clear on the values that we've seen over here how this does probably a recap of whatever we did, but just want to explain it in a little bit more granular level. Clear any other questions before we get into the next topics? All right, the next one that we see over here is creation of a calculated field, which we just saw in the demo as well. The first step, I need to enter my name. Like I said, always from this point of time onwards, create a name or any object that you create, not only a calculated field. Even if you're going to be creating a rule, use a name which is meaningful, which is as the nomenclature which I've just shared with you. It should be like Aryan underscore, core underscore. If it is going to be for a specific CF for calculated field, and if I'm going to be creating something like bi-weekly salary, my field name will look like Aryan underscore, core underscore, CFF and underscore. I will say bi-weekly salary. It is going to be really useful for you in the future as well. We need to create a calculated field or a rule or whatever you create. Create a meaningful object. Next, the business object. You need to choose the business object on which you are going to be creating that particular calc field. Next, the function. That is how you create a calculated field. The basic information that you require to create a calculated field. This is screen that is talking about the first field name, then the business object, then the functionality that I am trying to do build in this particular object or calculated field. The next thing is going to be the calculation. Say, for example, if I'm going to be building over here, say as IN underscore CF underscore core, and then I say B, simple sample field, I'm just putting it on worker, and then I'm just putting a function over here. Say something like arithmetic, that's it, simple over here. I'm just putting a B field, and what you see next is all your calculation information. What is the calculation that I want to do? That's what I mentioned in my calculation tab. And the third tab, we call it as additional information tab. This is more around the security and categorization parts. If I want to secure this by certain things, how do I do it? Whether it should be secured to only certain business, objects, rules, how do I want to do it? Or integrations. How I actually want to secure the usage of this. For now, just choose only authorized usage or default areas. Don't choose anything else because this default areas is going to be from the business object. Say, if I'm going to give default areas, this is going to inherit all the permissions from my business object level. Whatever is available in the configuration of my business object, it is going to pick the security over there. For now, just choose only this. Don't choose anything else apart from default areas. And here again, if I want to give a description to my calculated field, I can give a description value over here as well. Any questions here? And again, and for now, leave the reference IDs part. That is going to be the last topic that we will deal in this particular session, because every object will have a reference ID and we don't have any usage apart from migration part. And like I said, we have like one is the initial information. Next is going to be the calculation tab, and then we have what is called as the additional information tab, where we are going to give all the security information, and then the calculation tab. I'm going to be mentioning what is the data that it's going to be extracting and how. All right, clear on this? When you do not want to use it anywhere, you mark it as D and U. All right, inactivating it. I just didn't want to get into that nitty-gritty details, but let me just tell you that now, that it's going to clear the air around that question. See, when you say inactivating is you are inactivating it completely within the system, that you will not even be getting that particular field or object in any new rule that you are going to create. Whereas D and U, you will get that particular object in your usage. But you are just telling the user to not use it because I've marked it as D and U, because this could have reference in my existing rules calculations where it is still running, right, where it is still being used. I'm still having the references for that and it's still running fine. I'm saying do not use it in the future. That is number one. And number two usage. Any object that I've marked it as D and U will not be carried forward as a part of my migration. Migration is like when I'm going to be migrating some changes from my test environment to my production environment. If I'm going to mark an instance as D and U, that object will not be migrated. It will be excluded. And those are the two key differences between inactivating and D and U. Hope it makes sense for you. Clear on this what exactly A, D, and U does, because I'm not restricting the object, but I'm just saying that do not use it and it will not be carried forward to my next instance in my tenant migration. Say from a test instance, if I want to migrate it to my production tenant, any D and U object will not be migrated. It will be automatically excluded in my migration or in my migration methodology. Alright, since we have not seen that part, I'm just trying to give you a trivia information over there. And even if in our interviews, if they ask you what exactly is a D and U, just tell them this one. You're instructing the user not to use it, even though you are not removing all the references. And the second thing, it is not going to be part of your tenant migrations. It's going to be automatically excluded in your tenant migration. If they ask you what is a D and U, these are the two common things that you need to note. It's not going to be migrated. It is like completely inactivated. Audit trail also, it will show you that. Inactivating means that field is going to be inactivated. That's it. It's going to say inactive. It's not going to be deleted, and in your audit log it is going to say inactivated, say on the 3rd of October. That's what it's going to say. It's not going to show anything else. It's going to say this is inactivated and you can reactivate at any point of a time, and again when you inactivate something, you need to ensure that all the references of that particular object are removed before inactivating it. Before you inactivate an object, you need to ensure that its references say this calc field is used in 10 different rules. I need to ensure that the rule references are removed. That is a criteria which we have as a part of inactivation. Otherwise, those rules will error out, saying that invalid object is being referenced in your source field or in your value column. That's an error that will throw up. Clear on that? Alright, let's move on to the next. Like I said about naming convention. Again, the naming convention, whatever we talked about, is available over here. Like I said, first it should be the company and then we say cal field for CF. If you are going to create a condition rule, we say CR, and based on any other object that you create, use something which is going to be synonymous to it. Here I have used CF for calculation field. I can use CR for condition rule and whatever it is, and here RPT is for reporting functional area. Reporting functional area. I am going to use it only for reporting function area. That is why in this example it is given as RPT. If you are going to use it for core, say it as core. For benefits, say it as BN or BN as per whatever your organization policies are going to be. And then if it is going to be for comp, you say CN, P or whatever it is. Similarly, you give it for the functional area that you are going to use. Next, give the meaningful name that the field is going to be looking up or they is going to use. That when you retrieve this particular field name or this particular object name in another place, it will be easy for you to fetch it, and that is the reason why we are just insisting that you use proper naming conventions. Clear on this, and this is very important, and I was not very much focused about the naming conventions till now, whether when you created the rules or others, because we did not see the functional area till now. Now that we have seen function area last week, any object that you create from now onwards should be with the proper naming convention. Right? Just make a note of it. It should have the appropriate naming convention, otherwise it's going to be rejected. Just have it in your mind, because when I review any migration, if it is not in the proper naming convention, that object will not get migrated to the next instance, because these are certain rules which is always available in any support project or implementation project that you are going to be. If proper naming conventions are not there, it's going to be automatically rejected by your system administrator. It will not go through to the next instance. That's how it works. Clear? Any questions on naming conventions? And if you are creating an object along with GTIK, please ensure that it is appropriate. Alright, and I think this particular activity we've already done it yesterday itself. Existing calculated fields. If you want to locate an existing calculator field, this is the place where you would be looking, and this is the specific reports and tasks that you have over there. Today, I think I've already shared this particular material with you yesterday. Did you get the material across? I think I had shared quite a few materials, including the reports plus calculated fields. Did you get this particular material that we are seeing right now? The same deck is what I shared with you guys. Did you get it? Alright. The next thing that I just want you to do is today, I want you all to go through all of these tasks which are available, all calculated fields report, business object detail report. This is very important. This is what I think I showed you the other day as well. in any business object, be it worker, worker compensation. What are the different fields that are available? Yesterday, we saw this particular report about single instance, multi-instance, and all the other fields as well. I want you to go through all of these tasks today and please try to understand one or more fields which are available and what is the functionality of each and every field. Alright, and this one is again maintain calculated fields report. It is going to give all the calculated fields which are available in the system. Since this is a training tenant, you may find thousands of calculated fields created on different business objects. Today, if you get a chance, just try to go through this particular report and find out what are the other calculated fields which are already created by other trainees and try to find what is the calculation and how they have used it. Alright, and tomorrow I will show you some more complex calculations, but before that I would want you to just go through this particular report once. Why I am telling you is, I can show it easily, but I just want you to go through one of these reports and try to understand how a real world calculated field is going to be built or is built already. It's going to give you a lot of inputs and insights about it. Alright, that's what this particular report is going to be. And today, just try to find out at least 2 or 3 other calculated fields 3 other trainees have created. And if you want to clone or create, copy the same field. Let me do one thing. I will just show you a small field over here and I'll give you one option as well. Maintain calculated fields. If you see, for different business objects, they've created many of them. Let me pick the common one which we see, which is for worker. In the view calculated field, it should show up. It should show up in the view calculated field option. Aren't you seeing it? And why I wanted to show this across to you is we have many different fields which are created over here. What I want you to do is you can pick at least a couple. If you can do more than one, if you can do 5 or 10 fields, it's going to give you a really strong base foundation for the reporting and everything as well. What I would rather suggest is I'm just randomly picking a field over here which is built on the contingent worker business object and it is called as current date plus 30. They pick the current date over here and they are trying to find the difference between the current date and the current date plus 30, which is obviously going to give the result as 30. And if I want to have the result in months, years, whatever it is, don't ask me why they have done it in this way. Instead, they could give a direct field like constant field like 30, but they've just used it for some purpose. Somebody has done this over here. That's it. Just understand that on loan. Don't go to the nuances of this field and logic and everything. What I would rather say is you can pick a field and if I want to clone that particular field, what I do is I pick randomly any field, go to the calculated field options and say copy. Alright, I can say copy, whereby what will happen is the same field, the calculations, everything. I can copy it and play around with this. What I would rather suggest is pick some random field which you might feel complex or something of your interest, and then say copy call field and try to play around with these values. Instead of say value returned here is 30 days, I can say month, which is going to be 1 month. Or if I want to have the same thing in hours, what is the value that I need to do? Of course, we're going to get some error. Find out what this particular error is. it says the field name is required. I'm just going to give test_RN_1. I'm just giving ignore the nomenclature for now, just giving a sample value in order for you to understand. I'm giving the value name and in hours. What is going to be 30 hours into 24? It's going to give me a value of 2720. Similarly, play around with this. That is the objective of this particular thing. Play around with calculated fields over here. That's what I want you to effectively do today. Anything, pick anything. You could have management level. You could have fields like, which is a field which is going to pick the managers, manager L3, L4, level managers, or somebody a direct or an indirect reportees. Everything is possible using calculated fields. Just look at what exactly it is doing and then you will be able to understand it. Click on this. That is the objective that I want you all to do today. Try to pick one or more of the calculated fields from your Maintain Calculated Fields report and find out what exactly are the fields that other people have created. Explore it, copy it, play around with it. Don't play around with the ones that they've already created if you want to play around with them. Copy it, create your own version, and then do it clear on this. All right, let's move on to next one. I will ask the support to share this particular deck across with you today. Hopefully another hour's time, you should have this particular deck with and you can go through all the options, all the tasks which are available here. Go through them and come out with any questions that you have and try to build more calculated fields over here. Right. That's the activity over here. Where exactly, like I said, where exactly are we going to use the calculator fields? Number one, we are going to be using it in reports, which I want to be seeing next, or in your business process rules, common places where I would use it. These are the common places where I would use it. I would use it either in my reports or in my business process rules. I've already taught you about how to use it in business process rules. Next, we are going to be seeing about reports and Gattaca. By the way, the field that you created, I want you to use it right now. We are going to be seeing a very, very small report right now. Next, and let's get to that next up. All right, one small thing that you need to note over here is called as performance calculations. If you have some calculated fields which are going to do some wacky calculations, or if you're going to have multiple step level derived, nested calculated fields, obviously it is going to take a lot of time. You should be mindful about how my calculated fields are built and also the performance parameters. If you are going to build something like derived, nested, nested, derive 4 levels, be very mindful about how long that it takes, which is a common database problem which we always have in hand. All right, we will again revisit this when we go to reports. All right, but for now, what I want to do is the last topic that I want to touch today is it is what's called as report creation. We've seen about calculated fields. I'm just going to give you a very, very small. I'm not going to take more than 5 minutes of time. I'm going to only introduce how to create reports and we are going to be using the field which get, take are created, and for that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to create report. All right. I'm going to say create custom report and I want you to do the same thing right now. If you're doing it along with me, just try to do it. And I'm going to say RAN RPT test report, that's it. And give the report type as simple. Give it as a simple, straightforward report. There are other types of reports also available. I'm only going to introduce reports today and then for now, check this as optimized for performance and next let this be checked. Don't uncheck this and the work data source as worker. You will get multiple options for workers, but choose workers for HCM and reporting. Why just go to this particular description? It says accesses the worker as its primary business object and returns one row per worker, which means it is going to be a single instance and includes all active and terminated workers. And for all active workers, it is going to report the latest date as on current date, and for terminated workers, whatever was the instance of the worker as on their last working date. It's going to return that specific value. Choose the data source as workers for HCM reporting. Click on All Right. Once you click on, you're going to get the report name and you're going to get the data source as well and my data source filter. Even though this particular data source is going to contain terminated as well as active workers. But I am choosing in the filter over here. This is a default filter which I can use to filter data from my data source. I'm going to say only active workers. We do have other options over here and you cannot customize this. It is only those filters which are available in a data source, and then I have like all employees, terminated workers, all workers. That is the difference between the two. But for now, choose only active workers as my data source, and over here in my primary business object is chosen as worker. Choose it over here as worker. Do not change this. And in my field, give it as worker. Give it as worker. All right, this is going to give my worker detail information. Carol is a worker. It is going to give worker. Next, I'm going to use get the car's feeling, get the car. What was the field name that you created are visible over here and I can overwrite here. This particular column in my report will show us whatever a name I've given here. I am just going to overwrite this PF calc, just an example. And what I'm going to do is, because this is going to return hundreds and hundreds and thousands of values, I'm just going to give a filter, just like what we give as a filter in Excel criteria. I'm going to say I'm going to have my report only pick values of those employees who were hired C post 1T22P. Greater than or equal to, and I'm going to give a specific value over here as 1/1/2023 cast. C. Custom reports are some reports that you're going to create, and there is also something called as standard report, which is nothing but Workday delivered reports. Delivered reports are called as standard reports, and the ones that you're going to create, like you said, out of the box, are all custom reports. Only write clear. You can create any reports, but for now and create today, I want you to create reports only on this particular configuration that I have showed you and use your own calculated fields that you've created. And apart from that, if you want to also use any of the other fields which are available, go ahead and use it, because I want you to explore all the fields which are available. Explore it, either other people's custom fields or your own custom fields or delivered fields. Use anything that you want. My objective this is a very simple report that I've created. We do have other types, complex ones, matrix and other types of groupings, just like what you see in your Excel. We can do groupings, we can do matrix, everything. But for now, I want you to only run a simple report because I want you to correlate your calculated fields and then your report just to give you an example as what it is and today as an activity. I want you to try it and the report that I've created right now is a very simple. I want to look at the PF calculation for them plus whatever report I have created with their worker details. That is all I need to do, and I've given a filter over here which is going to say only those employees who are hired after 1/1/2023. This is up to your mercy. I am leaving it to you. If you want to pick only employees who are working out of US, who is reporting to Carol Lee, who is not reporting to Carol Lee or who are already terminated, you can do anything. Only thing is the data source filter, which is available if you want to pick terminated workers. Now I've given it as all active workers. Go ahead and explore that as well. If you want to pick terminated workers, there are appropriate data source filters to pick only terminated workers. Go around and play with it. Alright, go around, go. Or I go ahead and play around with this particular topic. Today I am only trying to inculcate some interest in you and I will deep dive into this tomorrow again. Alright, but for now, today, once you create those calculated fields, go ahead and use it in your reports and see what it is the way. Now I'm going to go ahead and run this particular report. Just ignore this for now. I'm not going to give anything over here and it's going to give all my workers who were hired post a specific date and I have 68 workers who are there. And it is possible that for some of them, my calculation is incorrect and they do not have a values. I need to look into that calculation or this particular worker's compensation information itself. All right. And let me just see if the filter criteria has some other value. I can sort it just like what I do it in my Excel. It doesn't have any other value. Let me do one thing. I want to see some meaningful information in my report. I'm just adding a couple of more information. I'm going to add date of birth. I'm just going to click on plus twice apart from the field that Gitika has already created. I am going to give hire date. Oh, I think I picked the wrong one. What's the right one? I will show some meaningful information to you and then I'll come to you. Gitika, I'm picking the date of birth of this particular person. Like I said, many different fields are available. You can pick and choose the one that you want. All right. Now I've edited this particular report and I'm rerunning my report right now. In order to rerun this report, you can come to this particular report. Either you will see a run over here or if you want to run it again, go to the related actions of this particular report, custom report run. Either if you have the run button over here, you will be able to do it. Otherwise, go to custom report and click run. All right, and leave all those prompt options. We call these as prompt options for now. Ignore this, completely ignore this. Alright, why I'm saying is ignore is for now. I haven't taught you that, but if you want to explore it, you can explore it, but we'll deep dive into it tomorrow. The hire date who was hired after 1/1/2023 is what I have over here. If I want to check if my report is functioning properly, I can order it based on hire date. Alright, and remember, this is a DMYY and not the MMDDYY, which is in US. Alright, and if you want to format it, you can format this in an American format as well, the way you want it. And data what? For some folks, it is available. For the rest of them, I guess it is not available. Probably it is not maintained in the system. That is why you don't see it over here. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.